I always point to the letter from Mark Zuckerberg that he sent to the committee, about 7, 8 months ago, when he said, the Biden administration pressured us to censor. We did it. We're sorry, and we won't do it again. And they've now changed their policies at Meta or at Facebook to actually embrace the First Amendment and let, the way our great Constitution works, the way the First Amendment works, the way free speech is supposed to work is if there's dumb speech, if there's wrong speech, if there's false speech, in some cases even hateful speech, the best remedy to that is more speech and the argument on the other side. And then Americans are sharp enough to figure out.
The time you were talking about, I was actually in local government. And I believe in cutting red tape so homeowners could renovate their house or so a small business could open. But the red tape that Elon Musk wanted to cut when he wanted to build his gigantic factory here was he wanted to pay people less than what they deserved. He wanted to get away with safety violations at his factory. He wanted to gut environmental protections for people that live around the factory.
A private civilian with no security clearance bullied his way into the Treasury. He set up private servers and stole sensitive information from an agency. Let me repeat that because I think some of my colleagues on the other side need to hear it again. A private civilian with no security clearance bullied his way into Treasury, set up private servers, and stole sensitive information from the agency. Folks, if that isn't a national security crisis, a cyber security crisis, I don't know what is.
They were really shocking and so disappointing when what I think our allies needed to hear was a renewed commitment by America to NATO, to our European partners, a willingness to stand up to the Kremlin and make sure that we provide Ukraine with all of the help that it needs to fight this war of aggression by Russia. But instead, what Europe got was a lecturing, a condescension, a demeaning speech that really, I think, just attacked our allies.
It would be a catastrophe. It would be a catastrophe because I don't think any of us should really trust the decision-making of the Iranian regime. It would be a catastrophe because a number of countries around the region, such as Saudi Arabia, will now feel as though they need to get nuclear weapons to protect themselves. And the more countries that have nuclear weapons, the more dangerous it will be.
You need to be uncomfortably aggressive. You need to not just bolster your own defense spending, because that's a long-term issue, that's a long-term investment. Yeah. You need to be talking about where you're going to be putting actual troops on the ground. Stop following our lead and actually take the lead. Let us be actually holding you back. That would be an ideal situation and vastly change the power dynamic when dealing with Putin.
There is a piece of legislation that I will be a co-sponsor of that provides for additional funding, $8 billion, to improve the infrastructure, to toughen the penalties for those that dare to put their hands on any letter carrier. We must do more to ensure that they're severely punished, that they understand that they will not get away with it, and that the families of letter carriers understand that when their loved ones go out there, they have our support, that we have their back.
In 1978, Ms. Turner published her first book, The Underground Railroad in DuPage County, Illinois. In it, she reminds us that in the past, our country has faced moments that tested our courage and our integrity, and that in those moments, we need brave leaders to step up and resist injustice. May we remember that historians like Ms. Turner will one day document how we stood up in this precise moment.
The National Institutes of Health fund groundbreaking medical research, including research for cancer and Alzheimer's. It's largely a non-political entity strictly focused on just improving health outcomes and saving lives. And Trump's attempt to cut funding used by researchers will threaten scientific development for decades. Simply put, these cuts will cost lives. As of now, the courts have paused those cuts, but let's talk about what happens if they go into effect. In Colorado, these cuts will cost our community over $100 million annually and put nearly 7,000 Coloradans' jobs on the chopping block.
Parents are trying their hardest to keep their kids safe and healthy, and it's irresponsible for people to plague them with pseudoscience and misinformation when the science has been settled on this for decades. The measles vaccine is safe and does not cause autism. This is a claim that's been spread through many communities for decades. And it's all based on a single paper published back in 1998. That paper was retracted years ago, and there have been hundreds of studies on the non-existent link between autism and the measles vaccine ever since. They have all, I repeat, they have all found zero connection between vaccines and the cause of autism. Let me be clear, every single one found zero connection. It's settled science. Vaccines are not only extremely safe, they're extremely effective.
The programs that USAID and the State Department has spent money on are indefensible. They hurt America standing around the globe. And I think the fact is clear that America would have been better off if your money had been simply thrown into a fireplace. Instead, the Biden administration spent it imposing their far left-wing ideology onto other nations.
I can tell you this, though, Maria, I don't think anybody wants to get in front of President Trump's agenda or what the American people all elected us to do, and that is get our fiscal house in order. I would not want to be the person that gets in front of that agenda, and I'm confident that together, through debate, we will put forth a budget reconciliation that will be transformational, that the American people have demanded, and that is good for all districts.
So wanted to start with Governor Abbott's request for $11 billion for Congress to reimburse Texas taxpayers that money. Where are you on that, and do you think it has a good chance of passing?
It's long overdue. I appreciate everything that the governor has done to keep Texans safe, really to keep Americans safe over the last 4 years. And it's not fair that Texans have had to pay out of pocket. So this reimbursement is an important initiative.